What's up, people? Welcome to this episode of the By the Hood podcast or webcast, because I don't know how you're consuming this content. I'm your host, as always. My name is Jimmy, and as we start off every show, that's with gratitude. Just want to say thank you to anyone and everyone who supports what we got going on. Special shout out to all the students from By the Hood University, as well as the youth from the By the Hood ownership camp. I got my partner in crime, Core, with me as always. Core, what's up, good brother?
What's really good? Every day above ground's a good day, so let's go get it.
Yeah, man. Listen, so this past weekend, we had the honor of being invited to speak by a Philadelphia legend, I'm going to call her, because the work that she's doing out in the community at this point just has to be acknowledged. And we have to give her flowers. But we want to do like a quick recap. The Keys to Success event, Keys to Success 2022, I shall say, because now it's an annual thing. But we got Rachael Hanible. And Rachael, how are you?
I'm unstoppable. How are you?
Oh, man, I'm unstoppable now, too. Yeah, look, I got to say that, too. Listen, I am, right? Rachel got me motivated and inspired, man. But we want to talk about this Keys to Success conference that you put on this past weekend. It was, I use too many adjectives. I don't know how to describe it because it was just powerful, right? Let's just say powerful. Because you had youth that you brought together to talk about, personal finance, but as well as business, entrepreneurship, and you just built with them and poured into them. And it was amazing to see. So first and foremost, just want to say congratulations on putting it all together and pulling it off.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so let's talk about this, though. Why was it important for you to put this conference together?
Well, the idea for the conference came when day after day I was seeing like just the crime go up in the city of Philadelphia, and most of it were involving teenagers who were just kind of like out on the streets, just roaming and angry and frustrated and lost, and just needing a place to put all of that energy. And so I really wanted to create that. I wanted to create a safe space, number one, where a large group of teenagers can come off the streets and come somewhere in the summertime where normally the crime is the highest amongst that age group, where they can come and be safe, feel safe, but also be able to get information and tools so that they can be able to channel all that frustration and all that confusion and pain into something powerful and into something great. I always believe that if young people thought that they would be wealthy or thought that they would reach all their goals, then maybe they would think twice before they did something silly that could possibly throw all that away. And so I believe that this work is life-saving as well as life-changing. And so that is where the idea to have this conference came from.
Yeah, that's amazing. And one thing that I want to highlight is the response you got, because you said once you put it out, you had money flying. And tell us about the response from the community when you said you were putting this together.
It was like, okay, I was already nervous. This is my first time. I don't even put together events at all. I've never put together a real event. So this was like my first of everything. And so I was nervous. I've never asked for donations for anything ever. So I was nervous about that. I haven't never sold real tickets. Like this was just my first of everything. And so I was like, I don't know how this is going to work. So I'm going to give myself 2 whole months to sell these 50 tickets because it might take me all that time. And then within 2.5 weeks, all the tickets were gone. I had only posted it once, and the first day, a crazy amount of just donations just started flooding in. My phone was just going off. People giving anywhere from $35 to well over $1,000. People just giving. I didn't even have to tag or ask, or I didn't have to do an email blast, anything. And so I was just very grateful and surprised, but to have that response. And I'm like, oh my goodness. I looked up, I was like, the tickets are almost gone. How did that happen? So
and I think that's important to point out, because a lot of times people like to say, well, what are you doing? Or no one cares, but people care, right? Corey knows that when I heard I can, we get people pour out just their time, their money, their energy. So I think it's important to shout out to all the sponsors and just say thank you, because when you put the bat signal out, people came back and responded. So I think that's utterly amazing. Before we were coming on, you were talking about just like, some of the responses that you got from the parents and the kids and all that. Like, What has been the feedback since the conference ended? What has that been like?
So good, so good. So many parents have been tagging me in different things or conversations that they've been having with their children on the ride home, or maybe even since then. I've received text messages, I've received emails, I've received all kinds of things of just the response that the parents have been getting from the children, and the questions that they may have had, follow up afterwards, and coming home like, I know something you don't know. So it's been such a wide, but they've all been positive. All of the responses have been really, really positive. And so I'm really excited, even being intentional about putting great men in front of them. And I know I said this to you too before when I first asked you to do it, that I was intentional, and I'm always overprotective about the ones I put in front of the children. And you too, and Stefan, just being such great examples of men who, are doing the work on themselves, doing the work in their families, doing the work in their communities. I think that is extremely important for our young people to see that, which is another reason why we even created the Wall of Investors. We talked about the sponsors. I wanted them to know that there were people who put money up, not just, posted a status on social media. These kids need to do this. These kids, there are people who literally, opened their wallets so that you can have this experience. And I just think it's important for our young people to know that.
Well, first and foremost, I just want to say thank you. We appreciate the opportunity. Anytime it's going to the community. So we can't thank you enough, because we were inspired by the work. I mean, you fed them lunch, you know what I mean? You had them,
breakfast.
But like, you had the media there so they could sit down and do interviews and all. Like, the whole thing was just, it was a phenomenal thing. I can't say enough kind words about what you put together. And I'm excited about, you said this is the first annual, which means that we got to run this back. Like, I'm excited to see where this thing goes, because this kind of work is needed. And, a lot of people talk about it, but you actually went out and did something. You know what I mean? A lot of people all the time when you on social media, they say, these kids need to do this and these kids need to do that, but they never talk about what they're going to do to help. And, you put something together that, I mean, next year should be bigger and better, because now you've laid the blueprint down in terms of what has to happen. So, man, and also shout out to everybody who helped you put it together, because your family, staff, everybody, really, really did an amazing job.
Absolutely phenomenal.
Yes. Yeah. Shout out to them. Shout out to the staff and the family. And even that, it was like, I'm one of those people that, I'm just do it yourself person. But I knew that in order to give these young people my best, I had to allow other people to do their best and serve in the ways that they are great at. And you see my mom, you see my sisters, they're just great.
So we see the work that you do, right? And we're like, man, Rachael was phenomenal. We had a chance to meet your mother, and now we know where you get it from, right? I gotta give your mom a personal shout out. She pulled Corey and us to the side and just breathed life into us, and said some things to inspire us and help us. And I'm like, all right, this is where she gets it from. You know what I mean? Mom had me ready to just go out and just change my life. You're like, your mother is amazing, so I want to make sure that I put that on the record and say hi, Mom, and
shout out to Dr. Dixon, Pastor Living Word Evangelistic Church. That's my mama.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's an amazing woman. So I see where you get it from.
Yeah, I took it.
I see. Yeah, I see exactly where to get it from. But let me ask you this though, right? So we had you on a podcast before telling your story about the amount of debt you paid off and how you got into personal finance. But also, and by the way, here's a copy of one of your books, Amber's Magical Savings Box. Tell us about the inspiration for this, because you're doing all this work with the youth. Like, how this specific book come about?
Well, some years ago, I read a story or a study that says that our financial habits are formed by the age of 7. And then I kept, reading up on it. It was a lot of just confirmations of just study after study of how by single digit years, we figured out whether money is our friend or our enemy. And then throughout our lives, we kind of just follow that path. And so I was originally looking for a book that was already written that I could offer to my clients who had children as they come on the journey with us as we do better with our money. And at the time I was only coaching adults. and I wasn't doing anything with children, but I was like, maybe I could just give them a book as a recommendation. And so I went to 4 different bookstores looking, asking the customer service, doing research, looking for books that already existed. And I didn't see any. And out of frustration, right outside of Barnes & Noble in the parking lot in the middle of February, I started to write on the back of a scrap piece of paper in my car, Amber's Magical Savings Box. And by that Friday, the book was done. And I knew that it was my assignment to create it. That's why I couldn't find it, because it was my job to create it. And I had used all of the experiences that I had for all those years of teaching adults. And everyone says, I wish my mom taught me this. I wish my parents taught me this when it came to money. Like, everyone had already been having those conversations with me. So I knew exactly what I wanted young people to learn about money. I knew exactly what they needed. And so that was the inspiration behind the book. And Amber, it was written in honor of my niece, Amber, who passed at the age of 3 here in Philadelphia. And so that was another way that I could give the young people the tools they need, but also honor my baby in the process. And so that's why we have Amber's Magical Savings Box.
Man, one thing I can say about you is you about action. She about that action. Like it's not there. I'm gonna sit in the parking lot and start writing right now. Like, and I think that's what separates you from a lot of people. A lot of people were talk. You taking action, right? And man, not enough can be said about that. Like, your ability to say, look, I'm going to do something and go do it, right? That says a lot. Core, I know you had some thoughts about. What was your thoughts about this weekend, bro?
It was I don't want to say nice, because that's not a big enough word. It was nice to see somebody doing something similar to what we're doing. Like, I didn't feel like I was alone anymore, right? Because sometimes in the work that we do, I feel absolutely like we're in a vortex, right? And then to see somebody to do the similar work and have similar results and get the similar feedback, it was just absolutely amazing. It was an amazing feeling, like, to come out of that alone feeling. You know what I mean? Like, to see the smiles on the children's faces, to see the staff so ready and willing and able to help the children, to see the children so ready and willing to be there. And we was in the hood. Like, we wasn't in no, bougie town home somewhere. We was in the hood. Like, we was dead smack in the middle of the hood. We wasn't hiding out. We was right there where the people at. And so, again, I want to congratulate you on a phenomenal event, because that's really what it's going to take. Like, really, like, I feel like we need to go back to the days of the 5%ers and get on the corner and do, you know what I mean, and put signs up and preach like the 5%ers used to do back in the day, like they was on the corner of 15th and Market. But we need to just take it around and move it around like that, like, so that these children can have that experience all the time, all over the place. You know what I mean? Like, if I felt froggy, I might leap. I ain't doing that. Like, that is a step too far. But the thing that I want to say though is you have a special rapport with children, right? There's people who shouldn't be around children, even if they got information, and you're not one of those people. And I don't know how to pay you a higher compliment than that, right? Because there's just people who shouldn't be around children.
Were you trained in like early education or something?
Like, what's funny? That I always tell people I know this is a gift from God, because I've never taken any class of any kind of how to teach children ever. I've never done it. And I always say that there are, one thing is to have information. Another thing is to be able to explain these complex things to young people and a group of young people who have different ways of learning. And so to be able to literally wake up one day and to be able to do that only confirms to me that I'm literally doing what God wants me to do. Because there's no way I would know how to do that. I'm an accountant during the day. I don't know anything about kids or teaching kids, but this is year 5 of teaching the young people and year 9 altogether of just educating my people on financial freedom. And so I've loved this journey for sure.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. Like I thought maybe you had like a degree in like early childhood education or something like that. Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah,
it's something else you told me before you came on, which was dope. Like this is how dope Rachel is. She told me that for all the kids that came to the conference, she wrote them a personalized letter, right? And what was the feedback from the children receiving a personalized letter after the conference?
So I had to send them to the parents because I had the email addresses for the parents, and I sent them out today, this morning. Some of them haven't read them yet, but the parents, a few of them were like, I'm crying right now. Like, I read this letter that you sent to my son. I'm crying right now. Like, thank you just for what you do, and thank you for this. I can't wait for my daughter to read this when she gets home. I can't wait. I'm printing this out for him. I'm printing this out for her. And again, they were all individually personalized with my experiences with them at the conference. Nothing was said twice. So it was some inside jokes there with some things I really remember them. I carry these kids in my heart and my spirit. So even 2 days later, I still remember certain things about them, you know, the light in their eyes, their giggle, their smile. And so I was able to really be able to connect with them again on a deeper level. And some of them had additional assignments from me because I just felt that I needed to, you know, reach, you know, some of them different ways, you know, but also other ones, they have dates with me moving forward that some I've met for the first time. We're going to be doing some fun stuff. So I reached out and, you know, offered them a date, offered them a mall date for some of my girls who came in there looking fly. So
they definitely threw it on. They was trying to get the best dress there.
Yeah.
So man, wow. Just wow. Like I don't know what to say, Core. Like just wow. Like
like that's a personal touch. You know, we have a personal connection with the children that we serve, but that we ain't write no personal.
No, listen, I'm telling you, Rachel was inspiring.
We ain't write no personal thank you. So you know, you get your pen out and you write personal thank you. Things to steal. Personal thank you.
Rachel is laying the blueprint down. She's showing how this should be done. And listen, we're here to support you. So in the future, though, what are some of the things that you're looking to do with this conference? Like, are you looking to just make this an annual thing? Are you trying to do more with the keys to success? Like, what are your thoughts now that you've went through the first one? What are some of the things that you're thinking about?
Well, first, I know we have outgrown the space already. We cannot use that space anymore. We were in there pretty tight. So we are going to have to find a bigger space so we can do more children next year. I would like to see multiple classes happening at once so they can pick and choose which classes they want to go to. I have other people that were willing and ready to teach this year, but because of the space, we couldn't do the multiple classes. We didn't have them, but we will have them moving forward. I'm just surrounded by a whole lot of really incredible and talented people who love the kids as much as I do. And so that is what I'm looking to do next year. So we're going to need more sponsors, more because, you know, my goal is to keep the cost down. A lot of those kids who were there were sponsored. They did not have to pay at all. And they got, like I said, they got the breakfast, they got their lunch, they got a whole bunch of valuable information and did not have to pay at all. And so I would like to be able to offer that to more children moving forward. Something else I would like to do is to highlight our stars, our rising stars and our business owners throughout the year leading up to the next conference. So it's something I would like to do. I've been talking to Revive Radio, who was there with us this weekend, and other publications of ways that we can highlight these young people so that now everyone else, the village, can now support them moving forward. We gave them gift cards. We gave them money to start to invest in their business, to start to buy some things. We gave them Amazon gift cards and things like that this weekend. And so I would like to be able to also have the people support them. Maybe a photographer wants to donate some headshots to our babies. Maybe someone wants to donate business cards, whatever it may be. And so that's something I really want to do moving forward. Because now it's the village's turn. It's our turn to do our part, and I need to give everyone that opportunity to do so. And so I'm really excited to be able to do bigger, much bigger every year, and I hope that every year I will never get tired of writing individual letters to every child. That has to be now a staple. I was crying writing some of those letters, and so that's how I know that this is something that we have to continue to do.
We're gonna make it so you're gonna have to get an assistant to do that, because we're gonna grow it so big that your hand gonna hurt from trying to write those letters.
Listen, but also
we're gonna make it outgrow your capacity to write 10,000 individual letters. We're gonna grow it that big. That's the goal.
You're changing lives, and you got our support with whatever, whether it's just sponsoring kids, being there to talk, whatever you need from us, we're in.
Say word.
I told Corey, I said, man, this is something that we got to support every year moving forward. And for anybody listening to this or watching the video, if you're a photographer, if you're a small business, or you're something like that, get in touch with us or Rachel. Let us know how you're willing to support pouring into our kids. A lot of us like to sit back and talk about what's wrong and what needs to happen. But now is the opportunity. Rachel has created a platform that allows us to do something, right? Because these are teenagers, 12 to 19, meaning that these are the ones that, you know, you're keeping them out of trouble. You're showing them something different. All of us are in Philadelphia. We see what on the news what the 12 to 19-year-olds are doing these days, right? But this is a whole different look, and they're so brilliant. When they, you see their eyes light up. Yeah, you see their eyes light up when they start to hear certain concepts. Like, oh, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. You know, so it's inspiring from that standpoint as well. Like, there's some brilliant kids out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Their ideas, their business ideas, like even in Stefan's class, the things that they were talking about, what they want to do, how they want to start a business. One young lady said, I want to start a business to keep the streets clean. I want to start a business to help people who are coming out of shelters. They were just there.
That one blew me away. Like that. Yes, that one blew me away. I'm like, wow, she's even
fair to giving, man.
Yeah, it's like their whole thing of giving and helping is man. That was dope.
And they can do it. They can do it. They can do it. They just need to, they need to believe in themselves. They need to have that courage to believe in themselves, but they need us to know that, they need to know that we believe in them too. And that we are ready. We are ready to do our part, even though my company is called Missing Piece, PEACE, but some of them are we just have our pieces too to the puzzle. That's why it's puzzle pieces, because it's like, I can only do my part. I can make sure that my piece is in place every time. And I can connect with other people who are putting your piece in place too every time. And then we are going to be able to build a great foundation for these young people and a great support system for them as well.
Absolutely.
And then we were talking to a few of the young people about, don't let people tell you money is evil. You got to get away from. You got to get away from that idea, that ideology that money is evil. Because the people who are able to do the most good are the people who have the resources to do the good, right? If you burnt out working every day, it's hard to do all of the good works that you want to do. You know what I mean? Not that working is bad, but you have to have resources to do the kind of things that these young children were trying to do. And so, you were fighting that ideology. We're fighting that ideology. Money isn't evil. Money is amoral. It doesn't matter. Money is the thing. It's what you do with the money that matters, but you have to have that thing to be able to do the other things. Yeah. And so just remember that don't get into the habit of telling people, especially young people, that money is evil, because it's not the money.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a Dr. King quote that he says money is immoral. He said it's similar to electricity. It could be used to light a house or burn a house down. It's about how you use it. That's a Dr. King said that money is immoral like electricity. It depends upon how you use it. It could be used for evil, it could be used for good. But listen, that's the thing. That's why rooms like that and environments like that are good, because what was inspiring is not just that they wanted to create businesses. Most of the businesses they talked about were about helping others.
Yes.
They were literally solving problems, right? And shout out to Steph for that, because he was telling them, like, what problem can you solve? The way he was teaching his class was inspiring too. So make sure we give him a shout out too, because he was asking, like, what problems can you solve? And the way they jumped to help others was really inspiring. No one was in there like, I want to do this to, you know, buy this or buy that, what you generally hear. Their thing was, I want to help this person. I want to help the homeless. You know what I mean? Like, you know, so it was very inspiring. So, you know, those kids are brilliant. Those kids are brilliant.
They are. And I told one of the letters, I remember one of the young men, one of the older guys that was there, I said to him, you know, there's no real secret, you know, to success, right? There's just about, you know, having the right tools. And I told him, I said, your toolbox is full. Remember, I tell you, your toolbox is full, but you got to learn how to use the right tools in the right situations. And I put a little joke in there, and I told him, you don't want to change a tire with a hammer, right? Yeah. And so you want to, you got it. I you know, kept saying to him in his letter, you have it. Your toolbox is full. You have it. There's no further secret. There's no further secret. You just have to make sure that you're using your tools correctly. And so I'm happy that we get to be able to create those spaces where they can ask those questions. Even their questions were really good of like, okay, now I have this information. What do I do with this tool now? And so they were really even strategic about the questions that they ask. And it's funny because someone said to me, and I often get this question, but someone asked me after this conference, like, you teach adults and you teach kids, which one do you like the most? And I always say kids, because kids are more realistic when they think about this. Because and you can attest to this, because I said this. I said that throughout the whole conference, none of the kids asked, like, hey, how long is this going to take? How long is it going to take for me to be wealthy? How long is it going to take to be rich? They weren't concerned with time. Yeah. Whereas when I'm teaching adults, they're like, oh, so I can invest this much, and then next week I can have this much, or how quickly can I get out of debt? Or everything is about, we're in a hurry. We want a magic wand, right? But those children were very realistic. They were very fair, and they were very optimistic about like all the possibilities, even things that I didn't even think of, right? They always come to me in those classes with things that I'm like, I didn't even think of that. That's a great idea. That's so good. So.
No, I still think my favorite quote from the weekend is when you were talking about loans, and you're like, why would you get a loan? And someone said house, a car. And the one young man said, because I'm broke.
But you know what?
I mean,
and then Corey, and I had to get on Corey because Corey came up and talk about I'm broke. I said, don't say you broke. Don't get up here and talk about you broke.
But no, I thought that was an amazing response.
I wrote in his letter, though. I wrote in his letter today. Don't ever again say you're broke. You're not broke. Got to be careful with your words. That was the highlight of that.
It was.
Yeah, that was an amazing quote. Yeah, so I was very inspired. I can't thank you enough for what you've done, specifically like within this city, right? Because you know, like I mentioned earlier, we cut on the news and we see what some of the youth are doing, but to see this is like there is hope, like Corey said, and you're on the front lines doing what you got to do. So you just got to get all your flowers, and we got to just say thank you. You know what I mean? Thank you.
Thank you for being so willing. You jumped at the idea, and I was just like, I picked the right ones. I was hoping you could.
You put us right where we love to be. Like,
that's
what to be able to help the youth further their goals in whatever way we can help them further their goals. Like, we front line. Like, when you give us a chance to get on the front lines, we get on the front lines. Like, you ain't never gonna see us on the front lines of no march and none of that, because there's a lane for everybody, right? But when you talking about doing something frontline for children, when, where, how we gotta get there? Like, tell us when, where, how. You know what I mean? Let's make this happen
in our community anytime. And you know, and again, your staff and yourself, we just got to make sure you guys understand how important you are, how important the work is that you're doing, and just looking forward to, like, you know, you said it, first annual, so this has to be a thing. Like, this has to be a thing and we need more businesses and people within the city to really get behind this and pour resources into Rachel and what she's doing, because she's created the platform. She has a proof of concept. Now let's make this bigger and better. Like you said, we capped this off because we just, you know, it was the first time at 50. What do you think you're going to do next year? Like, you think you're going to put a cap on it or what?
We got to at least double it, at least 100 at minimum.
All right, so
I gotta find a space. Y'all gotta help me find spaces now. Even what Corey said about the location, even that was intentional. I wanted it to be hood. I wanted it to be even that, and I was able to support another small Black business owner too. Yep. So everything about me is just like, how can we support? But the aesthetics, that was intentional as well. Like having it.
That amazing space too. A dope space.
Yeah, it's a great space. Bistro 870 event studio. They are great there, and I love that space. So it was a really, really good space, but it's not going to be big enough for us next year.
yeah. It's just about size. It's not about the space, because the space was beautiful.
Yeah, we about to double up.
The space is incredible.
Yeah, it's time to double up. Like, so I want all the entrepreneurs, even if you're not in Philadelphia, if you're an entrepreneur, an educator, or someone listens to this podcast, because we have a community that listens to our podcast, and you want more information, make sure that you look up Rachael, follow Rachael. We're going to put all of her contact info within the show notes in the bio, so you can see the pictures and see what we're talking about what went down this past weekend. This conference, like I said, was for ages 12 through 19. And we're talking about entrepreneurship. We're talking about investing. We're talking about business, all of those things. And these are our babies that look just like us. These are kids from our community. So everybody has to really support this. It doesn't matter whether you're in Philadelphia or not. If you want to help support this, I mean, and now we have proof of concept. If you want to put something like this on in your city, we can try to show you how to do that too, right, Rach? Let's.
I have been asked to do it in other cities already. I have been asked.
Yep. Right. Listen, that's the thing, man. Like, we trying to help our people any way possible. So just reach out, reach out. But Rach, I just want to say thank you for coming on again, and thank you for the work. I can't say it enough. I'm going to tell you again offline, but I'm going to tell you while we're on air as well, because it's inspiring. Make sure you tell your mom that we said hi again. Yeah. And just continue to do the work, continue to do what you do. I mean, you do, like you said, you talk to adults, you talk a corporate event, you do all these things, but you never forget about the babies in the neighborhood, and that's important.
I can't forget about them. And it's just such a blessing to when I'm overprotective. So when parents trust me with their kids, they just drop them off. Like, I'll come back later. You with Miss Rachael now. And I'm like, that's always a big deal to me, because it's like, you don't have to trust me with your baby. And so that's also a thing. Some of those kids, that was my first time meeting them. Them parents have never met me before. So they're like, yep. You can have them. I'm like, that's awesome. But then there's also was kids there that I remember when they were in the belly. I'm like, wow, look at you. You're 15 now. You're 16 now. So yeah. I appreciate that.
That's always amazing.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's support.
But it never gets old. Again, whether I tell the parents, whether you're trusting me for the first time or whether you're trusting me for the 30th time, like, it literally never gets old, because you don't have to do that. You really don't have to do that. And so these children left inspired. They left with real investment strategies. They left with real business plans. They left with knowing how to build your credit, knowing how to budget, like real hands-on stuff. Again, money to start their business and start to invest in their business. Business pitch, like all of that stuff, the real life changing information and real stuff. So I'm excited to be able to offer them even more next year. And once a year just seems so far away. It seems so far away to.
It's a lot of planning and a lot of stuff that goes into that, though. So. We want to make sure we make it, because it got to be right. Like you set the benchmark now, so it only can get bigger and better, right? We can't go backwards now, so we got to make sure this is bigger and better. And these are going to be our future leaders. Like, that's the thing. These kids will be our future leaders, so it's important that they got the foundation right, and that we do create this village. Like you said, it's not just us. We have a lot of folks in our inner circle too who are willing and able to do things. So. Create this village and this infrastructure to help them along their journey of being our future leaders. So, man, I'm just inspired and excited, and I'm just thankful that we had a chance to work together and make this thing happen. Because listen, Rachel, you're amazing.
Thank you both. I want to give you your flowers too. Like, one of these days I'll have my own awards platform where I can, honor our hometown heroes. And, because I always say the people who are popular aren't always the ones who are doing the groundwork. And we often give the awards to the popular ones. And so that they aren't always the same people. And so I want to pause, because I know what it's like to feel alone, like what Corey was saying in this work. on the front line. And so I want to acknowledge your consistency and your integrity in your work. And I'm just honored to have you, but I want to give you both your flowers for you may never know how much money you've helped people make and how much peace you help people find and financial freedom. You may never know. They may never come back and tell you, but the nuggets that you are dropping and all of that is, I hope it comes back to you 10, 20, 30 fold. You are blessed, and I hope you continue to be so. So I wanted to give you that moment.
Yeah, thank you so much. And the thing is, though, now we both know that we're not alone, right? We got each other. So,
right?
Yeah, we're gonna make this work, man. We're gonna make this work. So, Rachel, for our audience out there, again, follow Rachel. If you have anything that you can contribute, right? Like you mentioned some things, right? We know photographers, right? We know people that have small businesses. So we're creating an infrastructure for you to volunteer or give those photo shoots. Like we can really blow this thing out now that we've seen.
We know people who have spaces, event spaces. Maybe we can donate the space if a Saturday, a space for us to have our babies in there.
We can get
Again, I want to keep the cost low. I want to still give them good, healthy food. Still give them good, healthy breakfast. I don't feed those kids anything I wouldn't feed my own. So we're not cheap on the food or anything like that. So if we can save money on the venue, we can do that too. So whatever you have, everyone has something that they can offer. Even if you're a branding expert, help these kids brand, all that stuff. Like, our businesses, they need everything. So reach out to me.
So, absolutely. Listen, and to our audience out there, we appreciate you. Help support Rachel the way you support us. And this has been another amazing episode. Rachel will definitely have you back again in the future just to talk about what you got going on. I mean, leading up to the next one, even before then, because we're following everything you're doing. So it's about to continue to build and to continue to grow as a community. But everybody, as we always say, it's not about how much money you make; it's about how much you keep. Game elevates. We appreciate you, and we will see you on our next episode. But make sure you guys follow Rachel and see everything that she's got going on. Peace.